Welcome to Math 115. This is Intro to Stats and Probability. So as you can see, we are looking at our Llama Crew home screen here. So we're going to go over our widgets, or what I call our modules, in this left-hand corner. This is where a lot of our information is going to live. So if clicking on the first one, welcome to Math 115. This is kind of an overview of what to set up for this first week. And so this video will live here. I'll link it on this module. The first thing that we want to do is register for MyLab Math. And so this is where we're going to find all of our course content. So we'll go through that in a minute. Also, please be sure to review the syllabus and follow along with the course via the weekly modules that I'll also go over in a minute. So just be sure to give this a read here and let me know if you have any questions after doing so. So let's go through these modules here on the left-hand side of the screen. The first one we're going to look at is the course schedule. So we have all of our assignments and due dates outlined here. We also have some nice links for certain assignments. So for example, we will have 3 discussions in this course, and they're each linked here. You can also find the discussions if you click on the discussions tab right here in this menu bar at the top of the screen. So be sure to definitely refer to this course schedule so that you make sure you're keeping pace with all of the weekly assignments. Now, the next module we're going to look at is this vital source. So if we click on this vital source link, it's going to take us to MLM. So this is how we can register for MyLab Math. So when you click on this link here, the next thing that we're going to see is we see 2 different books here, but we want to click on the one that says Launch Courseware. So if we click on that, it's going to pop up to another page that's going to have it's going to be a Pearson page, and it's going to have Open My Lab and Mastering in a clickable orange button. So you'll click on that and it will take you directly to MLM. In my case, I'm doing this on an iPad so I can screen share. When I click on the Launch Courseware, it's not actually going to take me to that page. It's kind of like a broken link for some reason. It doesn't work with iPad or phone. So just keep that in mind when you are going to register. All right, so that's how we would register for MyLab Math. You're going to put in all your information and create an account and then link it to our course. I'll also put a direct link to Pearson here, just in case sometimes the vital source link can break, just so you can still easily access that through Lamaku. Now, the next thing we're going to look at is the course syllabus. So at the top here, you can download the PDF version of the syllabus if you'd like, or you can just scroll. I pretty much copy and pasted everything from the syllabus here. So as you can see, here's information on how to contact me. Definitely email and email through Lamaku is preferred. I do have an office on Windward campus, and my office hours are listed here. I primarily do office hours through Zoom and by appointment. I am open to meeting on campus as well if that's easier for you, but just email me and we can work something out. So all online courses at Windward Community College follow certain guidelines for ensuring quality instruction. We call this RSI, or regular substantive interaction. So please be sure to take a look at that. But the key takeaway is communication. So there are several ways to communicate in this course. We're going to have a Q&A Lamaku discussion board. I'll post that. But this is where you can ask and answer a lot of general questions about this course. This is all public communication. So I can see it and everyone in the class can see it as well. And then for all private communication, definitely email me. And I will respond within 24 hours, excluding weekends and holidays. So just keep that in mind. And then we can also communicate through our office hours as well. Now, I will also communicate directly to you guys through announcements posted weekly. So this will contain general information for that week, due dates, and just important reminders. There will also be weekly modules posted in Lomku at least 2 weeks in advance of deadlines, and I'll show you an example of what one of the modules look like. I have week 1 posted already, so we'll get into that in a minute. I'll also be providing feedback on your written work for your quizzes. So for the quizzes, to get full credit, you will need to submit supporting work for your answers. And so I'll go over that in a minute as well. And there will also be 3 discussion topics throughout this course. So definitely trying to communicate as much as possible in this asynchronous environment. All right, so if you scroll through the rest of the syllabus, there's a lot of important information about the course. We have our SLOs, we have our required materials. definitely review this course overview and expectations area. This is just kind of an overview of what the course is going to look like, how it's formatted. We also have our assignments listed here, so lots of important information with these as well. And then we also have the grading policy listed here, the course schedule, and a lot of important information. So definitely go through that syllabus when you have a second. Next, let's look at our weekly modules. So if you scroll down on the left-hand side here, all of our weekly modules are going to appear here as we move through the course. So this is an example of what it'll look like. This is the first week here. So in the first week of this course, we're going to go over chapter 1 on data collection. So I'm always going to have a little intro there on how we're moving through the course. Pearson does have some example videos and PowerPoint slides for you to go over before you attempt any of the assignments, and I highly recommend doing so. And the homework is always going to be found on MyLab by clicking on assignments, and the quizzes are also going to look there as well. You can always view your scores and overall grade in the course by clicking on Gradebook in MyLab Math. So just keep that in mind. Your grade is, you'll always have access to it. Now let's look at this table here. So on the left-hand side, we have our topics and assignments that are going to be due this week. So the homework is always going to be due on Friday. So in this case, that'll be the 11th. And our quizzes are always going to be due on Sundays. Now for this first week, we also have our first discussion, and this will also count as our participation verification. I have this blurb here about what that is, and it's also on the syllabus. So be sure to do that. And then on the right-hand side here, I have our practice problems. So I'm also going to be creating videos on practice problems from our textbook for the corresponding sections. So here I'll have a link directly to the video, a link directly to the blank practice problems and the solutions. So I click on the solutions here, a PDF should pop up with the solutions, and this is okay, perfect. So these are the solutions here for the practice problems for the first week. Um, and then something else to note here, our discussion and our where we can submit our written work is linked here. So for example, if I want to click on discussion 1, it'll pop up to another page which should have our discussions here. Now it says not authorized, and that's just because the discussion isn't open yet. It'll open on July 2nd when this course is available to you on Lamaku. But you can click directly on that link there. Same for submitting your written work. You can click on that link and it will pop up once it's available to you. Um, Something else to note is you can go directly to these links here on this menu in the top of this screen. So if I were to click on assignments, I have written work for quiz 1 there. You can just click on that and upload your single PDF, which is your written work for your quiz. Now, as we move through the course, more assignments will pop up for each weekly quiz. Now we can also click directly on our discussions tab. So these are our discussions here. The first discussion, as you can see, isn't open until the second, and it's due the 13th. That's why when we used the link, it didn't bring us directly to this here because it's not available yet. Just want to emphasize that. And then we also have our Q&A Lamaku discussion board here. So this is where you can post and ask questions. These are just going to be general questions about the course. I'll also be popping in there every now and again. So just keep that in mind. Make sure you follow the course etiquette listed on page 8 of the syllabus. All right, so I think that's it for our course. I did want to show you guys something else. When you guys are in your Lamaku account, make sure that your notifications are updated so that you are actually receiving notifications for this course. So when I make new announcements, you should be receiving an email notification of that. So if you're on the Lamaku course, you can click on your name in the top right corner and then click on notifications. Now, if you have the Pulse app, that is great. Definitely use that here. But the main contact method that we have is going to be our email address. So the email notifications will go directly to whatever email address that you have here. Mine is my email address in this case. Now, if you scroll down to instant notifications, this is where I want you to check at least these 4 boxes that I have checked on the right here. This way you'll get an email notification when there's a new announcement, feedback, and when an assignment is or the due date is approaching, as well as when an announcement is updated. So definitely check these 4, and if you want to check more to definitely stay super involved in the notifications for this course, that's fine too. So whatever you are more comfortable with as long as you have these four boxes checked. So I think that is it for this course. I also wanted to show you guys what our course looks like in MyLab Math. So once you click on the Vital Source link or the direct link on Lamaku, it'll bring you to our course, and this is the course home. So as you can see, we have a calendar here. This is nice because it shows you exactly when certain assignments are due. So if we were to go to the next week, for example, it's loading, but as you can see on the 13th, we have the quiz one. On the 18th, we have two homework assignments and so on. So that's nice there. And then in this left-hand menu is also our assignments tab. So we're going to click on that, and you're actually able to see all of the assignments for this course. So they're available to you automatically. Um, just waiting for this to load. All right, so like I mentioned, all of the assignments are available to you. As you can see, the names of these assignments have the corresponding week in parentheses next to them. And so these are the paces for the weekly modules and the course schedule. So for example, the first two homework assignments are due week one, and the first quiz is for the first week as well. And then we can see the next two homework assignments are due the second week as well as the second quiz and so on. So you can complete them, that's the due dates, but if you do want to move ahead in the course, that is fine as well. We also have the student grade book here, so you can see exactly what you're getting on your homework assignments as you're submitting them. And in fact, I think you can see your grade even if you don't finish the homework assignment. So let's say you do half of the questions, you should be able to see what your score is just based off of those questions. So this is also taking a while to load. But you'll also be able to see your quiz scores. And so the only grade that won't be automatically available to you would be the discussion grades. So I will input them into my lab math, but you won't see them automatically as you would with the homework or the quiz assignments. So this is taking a while to load, but it should pop up any minute here. Okay, there we go. So this is my current score in the class because I did look at one of the homework assignments because one of the questions was kind of weird, so I was just playing around with that. But as you can see, I only did one question, and so that is my current score in the class. We also have the e-text contents here. So if we pull this drop-down menu here, we see all of the chapters from our textbook. So definitely go ahead and check them out. You just have to click on a chapter here. You can click on a section and then click on any of these links. Now, there's also this study plan here, so just some extra practice problems. We also have our stat crunch here, so you're definitely going to be using that a lot in this class. So make sure that you are watching the videos that Pearson provides on this. But yeah, that's about it. This is what our course will look like in MyLab Math.